Wow. Good night, everyone. Trinidad, Canada, US, UK, wherever you are, welcome to Breakthrough to Success, where I hope to help you break through some of the barriers that prevent you from experiencing the success. I'm Amanda Edwin, Facebook page owner of Breakthrough to Success, and this is the first live for 2021. Tonight's episode or tonight's topic is really about the elephant in the room, surviving mental health, a lived experience. And my special guest this evening is Kareem Daniel Ryce from Trinidad and Tobago. Kareem has graciously agreed to share his story with us. I'm grateful to have him chat with me. If you have any questions for him, you can pop them in the chat during the live. And I'm sure he'd be willing to answer anything that you have, even if not now, at least after. So let me bring Kareem in. He's anxiously waiting in the back there. So here we go. Hi, Kareem.
Hi. Good night, everyone. Good night.
So glad to have you here. We have a couple people joining us already. Hello, Lisa. And what I'm going to do first, so Kareem is here to talk about his experience with schizophrenia, which is a mental illness that many of us suffer. Not me, but I mean, it's your experience. But there are a lot of people walking around living with mental health issues, including schizophrenia, depression, anxiety. And Kareem, I'm hoping you can give us a little bit more insight into that, as we go through the live tonight. But before we actually start diving into your lived experience, I want to play a little clip here that I found on YouTube. It's only about 3 minutes long, so it's not going to be, so I'm going to try and share that with us right now. So bear with me 2 seconds here.
Professor in psychiatry and behavioral sciences, neurobiology, and bioengineering at Duke University. I'm also a resident in my spare time.
Okay, that's not the video I wanted. Sorry.
Gabor, welcome to the show.
Okay, hold on to that. I don't know what happened there. It skipped to a new video. If there's anything, I'll come back to it later because I don't want to waste time looking for it now. It just skipped over to a new video, and that is what YouTube does sometimes with us. So let's just get into you, Kareem, and tell us about your experiences with schizophrenia. Go back to the start. Tell me what your life was like before you got your diagnosis, etc. So the floor is yours right now.
Sure. Hello again, everyone. My name is Kareem Daniel Ryce. I am 28 years of age. My favorite color is blue. I'm Trinidad and Tobago. I am a Trinidadian and Tobagonian, so I'm a Trinbagonian, right? So my life before my diagnosis was more or less. I'll have to go way back. Coming up, I would have been involved in sports and activities like scouting, and I was like a normal guy, right? Normal child. In standard three, that's where my life would have changed a lot. I did grow up in a broken home, divorce, family courts, therapy, all of these different things that would have impacted on my life. So I would have been suffering silently through that. Thank God for the extracurricular activities like the football and the scouting and
all of that.
Being in a marching band. Yeah, I actually was in a marching band. Represented Trinidad and Tobago a couple of times in scouting, jamborees and stuff.
Okay. My mother used to be, well, that was a long, long time ago. She used to be a scouter. She was a commissioner in scouting. Even my boys were in Cubs for a while. So I understand the curricular activities really do fill a void for you
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, with the social void sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm. It did. It did. And thank God for that, because when I was going through my suffering, it was those memories that kind of kept me from totally losing it. Because like childhood began rushing back to me with that psychological breakdown I would have had. Now I became a dad at a very young age, right? I became a father at 19, whilst I was attending secondary school, high school,
Mm-hmm.
secondary school. I came up in the just before whilst they were transitioning from evening shift and morning shift to whole day school.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that time. Mm-hmm.
So I would have been attending Carpi Chima junior secondary school and evening shift, um, attending counseling during that time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get my stories.
That's okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So whilst when I became a father is when my life changed,
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't mentally prepared for it, and I do believe that my children's mother was not as well,
Mm-hmm.
and that extra pressure and having to think about somebody else, be responsible for somebody else, need to find money for somebody else, even added to the pressure of me not knowing what I wanted to be with my life or do with my life. I did not know, and I was extremely depressed. At that point in time, um, I was working SM Jalil, right? I was working SM Jalil when I had that psychological breakdown.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
The first time I was working SM Jalil when I had that psychological breakdown. Deliveries on the road,
Mm-hmm.
hardest job I ever done in my life. Hardest, 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 hardest. One of my what would have led to me being what would have led to me suffering with my mental disorders. Before catch my thoughts, because a lot of thoughts just come into me all at once here.
Take your time. We got
Alright,
we got time. No rush.
sure, sure.
I'm sure this is probably hard for you to, thinking, bringing all the memories are coming back for you too. So it's going to be
Yeah, it is, it is, it is, it is. Um, okay. Mental health and mental challenges, mental health issues run in my genetics. Right? These are conversations that I would not have been privy to whilst growing up, so we used to make fun of it.
mm-hmm.
So I had no idea that, hey, schizophrenia, persons with schizophrenia, they probably predisposed, or they may be predisposed to self-medicating, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a serious challenge whilst abusing this medicinal herb called marijuana. Um, so whilst I was working, um, during the period of becoming a dad, during the period of becoming a father, and dealing with that stress, I was using a lot of marijuana to like de-stress.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, it was working, but then something began happening to me that I really couldn't explain, and nobody couldn't like help me, because the conversation of mental health is not it's a taboo topic, and it's not something that you would find families discussing. So like
Mm-hmm.
me experiencing what I had experienced, there wasn't anyone around in my environment who had any idea of what I was going through, what I was going through. So I would have been judged really, really harshly, um, in terms of being like when somebody loses their mind, or they have a psychological breakdown, the talk around the tongue would be, oh, yeah, did you hear this guy went crazy? He went insane,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I had to deal with that. Um, before I was diagnosed, um, I had tried to quit the marijuana
Mm-hmm.
on my own, um, which didn't work out so good for me. So I landed myself in rehab after I had another psychological breakdown whilst I was working with my dad in Maracas, St. Joseph, building some cupboards. Because my father's a carpenter, right? Or he does woodworking, right? So I had a psychological breakdown in this elderly couple's home, and I began singing songs, campfire songs, campfire burning. I'm singing inside the people home and scaring these elderly people because I'm going insane. I'm losing my mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I began scaring my father because he didn't know how to assist me. Now I did say that I grew up in a broken home, right? So initially I grew up with my mom, right? When my father left when I was in standard three, I was living with my mother, right?
Right.
Which had its many challenges. Because my mom is a possessive person and she is, how to say this, with there's no way to sugarcoat it, and I don't want to seem as I'm bashing my mom or anything like that, but I had experienced that love hate type relationship whilst growing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just like your father, you're just like this, you're just like that.
Okay.
So
I
I would have
Mhm.
that is a terrible thing to do anyone. And my stories will be all over the place
That's
because
this is your story, so we're listening.
yeah.
I'm hearing it for the first time, so I'm listening to you. So go right ahead, Kareem. It's
hmm
very good.
So, so whilst whilst having this psychological breakdown in Maracas and Joseph, it dawned on it dawned on so I feel like my mind is straying. So all right. So I was sitting down in the chair. I was
Mhm.
sitting down in the chair in Maracas St. Joseph, the old man chair. He's no longer alive now. I won't call his name. He passed away a couple of years ago.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And they tried to calm me and soothe me. Now from that point till to me attending or being accepted into the based on the referral to attend the New Life Ministries Drug Rehabilitation Center,
Mm-hmm.
which is um, up Monks and Benedict, right? The last working building on Monks and Benedict. I would have gone on a journey moving out of the area where I was living because I'm from central Trinidad, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And moved to the east. So I would have been living in Oropun Gardens at the time whilst having all these massive withdrawal symptoms and trying to quit the marijuana. I would have been introduced to a family friend who was a nurse at the time at the New Life Ministries Drug Rehabilitation Center, and they would have interviewed me, and I would have went there and gone through my process in terms of detoxing and all of these different things. Halfway through that process, I would have landed myself in the St. Anne's Psychiatric Medical Hospital because the persons at the rehab said I'm presenting a risk. The way I'm operating and the way I'm moving, it's like I'm a danger to myself and the other clients. So I had to be committed to the St. Anne's Medical Hospital, if that's the name of it right now, because I know it's like almost more than 100 years old.
Oh yeah, it's very old. Yeah,
hmm
and that alone, I mean, even the St. Anne's Hospital has its own stigma. Now I don't know if the stigma is still the same, but when I lived there, getting going to St. Anne's meant that you were crazy. So I
hmm
know that there are stigmas that go with it as well, which would not have made it easy for you having to go there. So when you got there, what happened and how did it help you?
It did help me. It did help me catch myself because what would have led me to initially go in there? That day I went, I remember it, but it's like I was on autopilot, unable to control myself. I was walking in circles around the New Life Ministries, around the building,
Mm-hmm.
whilst another group of clients were graduating from their program. I didn't even attend their graduation ceremony because I couldn't. I
Mm-hmm.
think I may have had the same shirt on, walking in circles around the building in the hot sun, sweating with my eyes wild. I
Wow.
wasn't myself. Yeah. And they just left me and they made a call to my dad and he carried me to the psychiatric hospital, and I would have been interviewed by the doctors and all these different things, and I would have had to stay there. Now now I have to pause that story. That's how I landed in New Life Ministries, from New Life Ministries to St. Anne's. But the journey was actually, there's more to the story. That's just a particular part of the story combined in one segment. That's one era of it.
Great.
Now, fatherhood, fatherhood is not an easy thing. Um, Thinking about, um, now I have a daughter and a son, right? She's 9 years. She's a genius. I see a lot of myself within her. My son, he's a genius as well. They have my traits. They have, they are braver than me, and I'm extremely proud of them for the type of persons they are and the courage they have to be vocal with me if their feelings are hurt. I appreciate that. I really do. And unlike when I was growing up, I would have been the type of guy who would have been seen as some sort of troublemaker, even though I was involved in so many positive activities. I was labeled. So much negativity was spoken on me. He just like his father. He just like this.
Mm,
You could kill your mother. If you're stressing out your mother, you're stressing out this, and and I really reflect on how words could affect somebody. You begin to believe that. You begin to believe that and seek that validation externally or outside of your home.
right.
It's only as I became a grown man I began feeling comfortable within my own space. Right? Whilst growing up, I would have been the type of child, my mom has to work, my father isn't around. He's working on a farming program in Canada whilst I was attending preschool, um, in and out, um, preschool to second year. He's doing these things, so I'm not seeing him that much, but I know he comes. He sends things. He cares when he comes here. When he used to come here, I would be seeing him and my mom going at it, arguing. So, I would have grown up seeing bickering and arguing, and I'm just trying to connect the dots, and this is helping me understand what could potentially lead, or what could have potentially led me to be the person in my generation and my family to suffer with schizophrenia or mental disorder, right? It,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't just happen just like that. People are triggered, life. It 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 made me as a parent understand that, hey, I need to really be careful with what I'm telling my daughter and my son.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it really does. So whilst growing up, constantly hearing just like this, just like that, um, seeing mom and dad fighting. They would have been fighting a couple times, having. Um, I'm gonna share something for the first time. I never shared this with anybody. Right?
If you're comfortable, go ahead.
I am. It's helping me. It's therapeutic. When my father left, he told me he was going because he could not deal with what was transpiring in my home, right? With my mom. Um, they would have been gossiping about him, gossiping about me. She would have had her issues with him and family and drama and all this. And I'm sitting down as an only child, always quiet, looking on at all the bickering and hearing negativity coming from both sides. So
Right.
that day when my father left, I got a phone call, said I was um, spending some time by family members where my mom used to drop me off at because she had to work.
Mhm.
I got so accustomed being down there. It's like I began to love being by family instead of being in my own home because of the company. You know, everybody likes company and they're never comfortable being by themselves.
Themselves.
That was a dangerous thing. Loving company and not loving your home more than anywhere else. That's dangerous. There's pieces at home, right? And I learned that now. So that night when it was like minutes to 6, a little after 6, I got a phone call. My dad told me to meet him out the road. Um, I walked out the road by myself. So he told me, Karim, I said to tell you something. I'm leaving. He explained to me the reason why he's leaving
Okay.
and gave me a hug in the road. And I was crying and he was crying. And then I had to walk back by my family and play like normal, you know. First time I ever shared that. That was a real painful thing. Now, whilst growing up, to constantly be hearing negativity,
Hmm.
and it's like even though you do something positive, it always have this, you just like your father hanging over your head, you know? So it's like I could clearly see why I now as a grown man am isolated. I isolate myself from a lot of people. I have to protect my peace.
Hmm.
You know, I'm like that guy who, that guy, there's this type of family member who is always weird and nobody visits him because he's stick to himself, something wrong with you, he different. That's me. And stories like that, I could see how I'm like some sort of um, strange, weird, um, uh, like not a Buddhist, but the way these hermits, I'm like a hermit, right? That's my vibe. I'm like a hermit. So being this way and being like a hermit, it made me, it made me, um, that's now my thoughts, my mind is going 100 miles per hour right now. Hopefully, people are understanding me. I'm never understood.
I'm
uh,
understanding. Take a deep breath and
yeah.
get your thoughts. It's fine. We have time. No rush.
Hmm. Yeah. Whew. This is really therapeutic. I feel light like every time a word comes out of my mouth. Every time. What was the last thing I had said? I lost track of what I was saying. I was so in the moment. I think the last I was talking about hermit or I'm like that hermit who nobody
You're
visits.
talking about you are the person that's you're finding peace
Hmm.
by being on your own in your own
Hmm.
space kind of thing, and you're like that hermit that people, but you are you're understanding who you are,
Hmm.
right? So you need to just take a time, get your
Hmm.
thoughts.
Hmm. And whilst see, I did a lot of introspection and tried to understand, like, what could have caused this? Um, why am I this way? Why am I socially excluded or even called last or never called at all to family functions? Why don't they visit me?
Mhm.
You know, unless they want something. Why? You know, even though I enjoy the the peace and the silence, it it does hurt.
Of
It
course,
does hurt.
because
It does hurt.
you still want to feel connected to
And
people.
that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. Being the way I am, it's really difficult to connect to, to many people. I'll be talking about things like I like to know myself, what affects me, my diet, my blood type. I might talk about astrology here and there. I might pray. I might look for the deepness and things.
Hmm.
I don't like shallow conversation. So it really be difficult to connect with. And when I say deep, I don't necessarily mean textbook deep,
Right.
you know. Who wrote the textbooks? Who got that kind of vibe, deep philosophical type of personality. That's who I am and that's who I've always been, you know. I'm like a storyteller. Like so many stories in my mind. And just to pull them out, I could cheer anybody up. You know,
Mhm.
who's
And
cheering me up?
that's good. I mean, yes, you went through whatever, but you were able now to express yourself, right? And
Hmm.
later on, we're going to talk. I mean, you're going to share something with us later on, but
Hmm.
you know, you did a good job. I think you did. I mean, I'm listening to you for the first time, and I think you did an amazing job coming from where you were to where you are now, sitting here, able to tell
Hmm.
us your story, telling me things or telling us things that you haven't said before to anyone. So that's empowering, for you, for us, whoever's listening. And take joy in that. Take joy in that. I mean, I'm getting emotional because of what you're telling me. I can get emotional very easily too. So, but I'm learning so much from you, from what you're saying. And I think others are going to learn as well in terms of their own family lives. So seeing what you went through as a child and how maybe they can take a look at their own lives right now and say, hey, is this what's happening with me? Maybe I can do something different, or maybe I'm doing a good job. Thank
Hmm.
God I'm doing a good job. I think I'm doing okay with that. All right. But in terms of you getting help though, Kareem, and I know you got your treatment and all that, you have your kids.
Hmm.
How did you let's go to the good part now, where you're now the global peace ambassador for 2020. Tell me
Yeah.
how you got into that and what does it mean?
All right. It's a program sponsored by the Peace Abbey, right? It How I got involved in that, it was amazing. Last year I began volunteering creatively or um, lending my voice or doing some audio engineering services for a social entrepreneur.
Okay.
And so I became privy to information such as the UN Sustainable Development Goals and those types of things, right? So I got an impulse. I got a lot of impulses, and I act upon them, and amazing things happen in my life. So I trust my gut feeling. I trust my vibes a lot, and I just do things effortlessly, you know. So I did a search on Facebook, and I found a UN Sustainable Development goal,
Mm-hmm.
which led me into a WhatsApp group. Um, the name of the WhatsApp group has changed now. Rain is rain is falling in Trinidad as I'm talking here. That's amazing. That's blessings. So I entered into this group and I signed up for a 3 day youth development or a leadership conference, a global
Wow.
conference. Now we live in the time of technology, so the opportunities are in abundance. Seek
Mm-hmm.
and you shall find. So I
Mm-hmm.
found that opportunity and I signed up. I did the time. I took one day, first one, second day, and on the third day, On the third day of this workshop, there was a woman speaking at the end. The last speaker, she's from Canada, right? And she shared her story about mental health challenges, and she's doing a lot of positive things in the world. Now,
Mm-hmm.
ever since I was growing up, I believe I was somebody and I was important. Even whilst I was having my marijuana induced psychosis, hallucinating, some of my hallucinations were people taking out photos of me. And I would have been hallucinating, walking out the back and walking out from smoking, and I'd be posing and I'd be just talking random nonsense and jibber jabber or whatnot and saying, hey, did you see that person taking out that photo there? And they'll be laughing at me. And, this person, Miss Elizabeth Jean Gagnon, shared her story and her experience uh, suffering with. She's open about it, and I love people who are open and they empowered.
Mm-hmm.
They empower you to feel comfortable within your skin because um, schizophrenia is my condition, but it is also a part of me, a part of who I am, and I have to manage that, right?
Right.
So there, the forum within itself, we had the opportunity to ask a question or say something. Now I type really slow. A lot of people may probably get upset with me. I type slow, even though I invested in something to help me type faster in the Zoom. I was unable to, and I felt as though an opportunity was passing me by because I would not have been able to say what I wanted to say. I was going to speak from my heart. So
Mm-hmm.
I put on my controller and I unmuted the mic and broke the rules and said something because I typed slow. Probably 5 more minutes in the workshop in the conference, and I spoke and I said, Miss, your testimony really touched me. It resonated within me on a deeper level because I have been living with a mental condition for the past 7 years, and hearing you speak in this forum so comfortably amongst all of these people, I feel like you were speaking directly to me with the words that you were saying. She messaged me. She messaged in the chat,
Mm-hmm.
reach out to me. She spoke, reach out to me. In my mind now, I'm trying to figure out how am I going to reach out to this person. Now, one of the facilitators, uh, one of my colleagues on the African continent,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Mr. Sigon Solomon, he said he'll share the contact. I spent the next 3 days looking for this woman to message her. So I'm surfing the web. I realize I'm good at this networking thing now. I'm surfing the web, imagining like I'm passing through the web, the virtual world, and I'm just looking for this woman. And I found her, and we spoke. We were speaking every night for the next 2 3 days, and she has been pouring life and energy and encouragement into me, and she does not even know me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she lives in another country, and she said people like you and I, all they need is a chance and they'll be able to change the world for the better.
Wow.
Said, I'm going to teach you about something. You need to get accustomed filling your yes cup. Your yes cup. You're always being told no. You need to begin working on your yes cup. Said, I'm going to do something for you. She's going to introduce me to someone. She introduced me to the project director of the peace organization. And something magical about me registering. I was getting so many challenges to register to become ambassador
Consider the global
on
ambassador.
the
Mhm.
yeah, and within the process, we just knew that we need to get this done. We need to get this done, and they got it. I got through, and since that opportunity, this is what had happened because I would have entered the program whilst they were planning their global music event, their global peace music event. And with approximately a month to go, I would have compiled um, a song and made a contribution with the help of one of my brothers. From when I say brothers, I mean like he's not my blood brother, but he's like a brother, and we have a lot of deep conversations in terms of like, spirituality or religion or um, music. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but he teaches music, right? He plays the steel pan. He is a part of the scout troop that I'm in, that I've been a member of, Second Freeport Sea Scout group,
Mm-hmm.
and we connected. So I reached out to Emmanuel Stevens and said, bro, I need your help. I'm making a musical contribution to to this global peace project. And he said, bro, the last time you told me about an opportunity, I was in Tobago for the weekend. I end up in the that scout group is one of the most recognized scout groups in the country. He
Mm-hmm.
end up getting so many big opportunities because of that one thing I told him. He said he's on board. And I reached out to somebody else, um, Marie Richardson, also known as Rizzo,
Mm-hmm.
sent her the song with some of my lyrics and the steel pan contribution that Emmanuel Stephen placed on the track. And she heard it, and I was not even expecting her to write and get back to me so soon. So I sent it in the morning. I went and do what I had to do. I checked back in the afternoon at 5 and noticed that that email came in at 2 in the afternoon. And I was like, so soon? That was really powerful, you know. So we have credits in our international, in our global music event. Um,
Amazing.
yeah, I would have contributed to
You
that.
created that, so that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I did do other things in the global music event as well, besides networking it and all these different things. But
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing to be able to communicate with persons from all around the world and tap into that knowledge and that experience. The network is different. It's just like peace and love and no negativity.
Correct.
Nothing is perfect. Yeah, nothing is perfect. And when I say nothing is perfect, feelings are temporary things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And feelings always change. But you see, like, I really admire the organization because of the consistency, because of the transparency,
Mm-hmm.
and because of the drive. We have good leadership. Tom Connors,
Mm-hmm.
that's the project director. Good leadership. We are like, it's amazing to be able to represent your country in anything. Yeah.
So you have to be very proud of yourself, and I'm sure everyone is proud of you because I see your friends. Some of your friends are here saying, that they're so proud of you, um, of what you've been doing. Right
Hmm.
now, tell me a little bit more about. You're also a mentor and a vice president at the Jim Graves Intergenerational Achievement Association. So tell me a little bit more about the association and what what they do and how, in terms of your mentorship, what do you do as a mentor there? Who do you mentor, for example?
Things have slowed down drastically due to COVID-19. Initially, how I became privy to that organization in particular, it would be, and this is another story within itself. Um, all right, so I used to work at a school at a point in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I used to work at the school I attended, Carpichaima East Secondary School, also known as Carpichaima Senior Comprehensive. I was on I was on OJT train. I was training to be a textbook rental assistant, whatever that is, a textbook rental assistant on the job training program. So whilst I was sitting in this dusty room with mold and a hole in the ceiling and a rusted fridge that I decided to paint white with some spray paint and draw on it because it was rusty and I didn't like the ambience in the room. So I began reading a book called Looking Out for Number One by Robert Ringer,
Mm-hmm.
and I started having a different perspective on life and me and who I am and how to change my life around. At that point in time, I would have been 190 pounds because I would have been taking medication like Risperdal and Cogentine. I was really heavy, because of the side effects and horrid, horrible side effects that I wouldn't wish on anyone. But I don't take any medication now because I know me, I know thyself. So the um one day I was with this same laptop I have behind me here. I went to visit some family and I was sitting down freestyling on some instrumentals in the corner like a crazy person as I would have been viewed as at that point in time. And one of my cousins walks through the gate and he walks through the gate with some pamphlets in his hand and he says, um, this guy hands him this and tells him that he used to head engineering at UTT and he was the
Okay.
head of engineering at UTT and invite all their friends and tell them about the opportunities he has to offer and I'm sitting in the corner and I pressed pause on my laptop and I'm like, this guy like he's talking to me, my cousin is talking to me. So I asked, are you gonna go? He said, I don't know. I said, what did he tell you to do?
Mhm.
He said, send him an email of your understanding and call some and or call him. I said, you're gonna do it? He said, I don't know. I said, so we're going tomorrow? I asked him if we were going tomorrow and he said he doesn't know. So tomorrow came, I found myself back down by my cousin's house and I said, I think we should go. So we went and this guy who ended up being my first mentor after on this new life journey I'm having here.
Mhm.
Um, so we visited Professor Clyde Herman Phillips' place and Professor Clyde Herman Phillips says to my cousin, I'm disappointed in you. You're not ready yet, and you didn't send the email, didn't call. Now I'm crushed within because I'm thinking, oh my opportunity is disappearing too. So I said, well, he did tell me there wasn't many persons around, so the opportunity we're here now. Looked at me, he put out his hand, he just shake my hand. I love shaking hands because you could tell a lot about somebody by shaking their hand, right? And I kind of practiced my grip because I had serious nerve damage and I'm not supposed to have a firm grip. So I leave a lot of persons shocked or surprised when they try to squeeze my hand and it end up being the other way around, right? So I shook his hand and he said, come see me in the morning at 7 and I visited him. We began talking and he tells me some stories and he says, after hearing my story, I remind him of Jim Greaves, which is one of his friends who was older than him,
Mhm.
um, who's way beyond his time. His mind is way beyond his time. People don't understand him that much because he too shares something with you. You have something in common. So that was enough for me to attend the meeting at the Jim Greaves Intergenerational Achievement Association. It was a different name at the point in time called the Jim Greaves Foundation. And we used to have meetings upstairs, the Techie Credit Union, on the third Saturday every month, right?
Mhm.
So I went the first meeting and I shared who I am and I said, after hearing Jim speak, right, I realized that, hey, I really appreciate persons who have mental conditions who are open and share because he never hides anything. He's God rest his soul. God bless his soul now. He's no longer here with us. He never hides anything. And
Right.
it's really amazing to see somebody who has schizophrenia just like me, right? Sharing. So I'm looking at him and I'm saying, this is a really knowledgeable person. and they are trying to solve male underachievement here and trying to influence change, you know. So in my mind, I say, okay, I'm like one of the youngest persons here. Majority of my mentors are over 60, so I'm like a young old man. That's how I operate, right? And it's like whilst attending as a youth, I just kept going and kept going and kept going, stumbling here and there and kept going. No
Mm-hmm.
money to reach, still going. You know, I'm still not where I want to be in life, but I'm on my way there. I'm sure. Um, the eventually, I just ended up whilst the NGO began, we became officially registered in Trinidad and Tobago, as I'm the youngest person there who tries to translate translate the thoughts of the elder generation to the younger person. Um, I ended up becoming the vice president or the second vice president. So I'm like a president in training in the organization amongst
So nice.
um
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that's what I am there, and that's how I became that title there. But it's not about titles. We were talking about initially. We were talking about male underachievement, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the my in my opinion, the only way to solve male underachievement is by being an example.
Good point.
That's the only way. Nobody on the face of the earth can solve anything unless they are example of what they're preaching. So the only way to solve male underachievement, I know within myself, that begins with me. I have to achieve. So I have taken um, some serious decisions with my life to always try my best and put in my time to develop myself and achieve. Because I can't tell somebody to achieve
If you haven't
and
done it yourself.
I'm not achieving. No, and it goes deeper. It's not about what you have achieved in the past. It's what you are achieving now and what you are continuously about to achieve. And that's the major, and this is how I think. And this, I think, this one of the problems in our society because we'll have like, now I did not attend tertiary level. Maybe one day I may for fun
Mm-hmm.
after I've already organized my life in the direction I want to go in because I like psychology
Mm-hmm.
and music, you know. That kind of inspired me to take an introduction to child psychology course at UWI Open Campus some years ago whilst I was working at the school, Capital Senior Comprehensive, sacrificed and paid that and got that certificate, that A, right? It's not what we have achieved, it's what we continuously begin to achieve
What you're
over and over.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, life doesn't end. Death, when you're not growing, that's like death. You know, the elders or the youths have to continuously show people that they are achieving. Why should somebody go to university and get a master's and a doctorate and do nothing else after and expect that job to fall on their lap?
Mm-hmm.
That's impossible. That doesn't even make sense. That's unproductive.
I totally agree
Yeah.
with. I mean, from what you're telling me now, I mean, you're sharing that you have actually continued. You found, I think you're still finding yourself. You found where you want. I mean, you're going, you're growing,
Hmm.
which is amazing. Um, and with the male underachievement, you're absolutely right. They need role models. If they don't have the role models, then you're right. There's nothing to look forward to. They don't know what the examples are, what they should be doing. So you're doing an amazing job there, Kareem. Now I know you have something for us that you want to share with us,
Hmm. Okay. I
and
would
I should
hope.
hear it. So Kareem has well, you write poems, you write songs and spoken word and etc. So
Mm.
Kareem is going to share one of that with us tonight.
Okay. The name of this piece is Society Suppression. I let you in. I trusted you. Questioning myself now, was that choice my greatest sin? I let you in. At first impression, to see your smile was like a win. I trusted you with the inner workings of my mind, transparent with you, because like I found sanctuary, opened arms as seasons flied by. I broke her heart for you. I came out of the dark for you. Parents crossed lines, boundaries set. I was that spark for you. I let you in and found that first impression missing. Who are you? Where is your soul? No peace, saddened by your muscle spasms. I'm sleeping, yet I'm twitching. I broke my heart for you. I stepped into the dark for you. Crossed my lines, boundaries set, my purpose locked and caged, engulfed in flames, those aching pains, all up in rage for you. I looked within. Therein silently I was sitting, balled up, a part of me, knowing, Karim, something's missing. Who am I? Amongst many, one guy, stoned and thrown by words so cold. Man with emotions has never ever been condoned. Society, I broke my heart for you, vanished into the dark for you. Now tell me, because I ask you, men aren't allowed to unbottle feelings amongst you. Is that a reality that is true? Society Suppression, written by Kareem Daniel Rice. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so honored. I'll take a deep breath. All right. Oh my God. Thank you for sharing that with us, Kareem. That touched me, and I'm sure it touched a lot of people. Kayla's commenting and saying that that was powerful. It was. You are doing powerful things with your life. And I hope everyone who's hearing this and that we are sharing with can appreciate what you are going through and be introspective, be mindful that there are other people around who suffered mental illness, are struggling, and don't have that way out. Again, because of the stigma, they don't talk about it. You had opportunities along the way that, as you said, there were life journeys for you. There are things that impacted you that created those new life journeys for you. And you are growing. And my wish for you is that you continue to grow and you get all the blessings that you deserve. Continue being an example to your children, your daughter, your son, and all the children or the males that you mentor, because you have so much to offer. I am proud of you. And it was an honor to have this chat with you and this conversation with you tonight. Yes, I mean,
Thank you. I appreciate it. Can I can I say something to change the mood? I didn't know that piece would have been so impactful. Um I did mention my children's mom, right? And over the years we have had it out, but recently in terms of co-parenting in this type of environment, this
mhm,
weird environment, because they didn't teach us about the type of family structure that I have right now in social studies, right? They skip that one and focus more on the normal man and woman family structure, right?
the nuclear family. Hmm.
Yeah, they focus on the nuclear family, but there were other types in that book, but they didn't teach us that. So we used to have a lot of challenges because we had an ego and pride, and I myself had that. But recently, I spoke to her and I said, "Hey, you are doing an amazing job, and you have done an amazing job when I was going through what I was going through, pulling it down. And I'll do my best as I'm building myself now to try and make things happen and work together and communicate with." So I just want to send like a a lot of respect and appreciation to my children's mom, Jalissa Bahol, wherever you are. I really thank you and I appreciate you and continue being the awesome mother that you are. I appreciate you. Thank you for being the person that you are. Yeah.
Wow. I hope she's hearing this, and I'm hoping she's hearing it and appreciating what you're saying to her right now. And that takes a strong person to say that, and
Mhm.
it shows that you are a person of you're worthy of who you're becoming. Okay, you're of who you're becoming. And Korea, I want you to share your because we're just about to finish up. Can you just share your Instagram handles for the viewers so they can start following you on Instagram, follow your journey?
Mhm.
So it's Kareem at Kareem Daniel Rice.
At Kareem Daniel Rice 01. Um, On Facebook, it's just Kareem Rice. I'm currently working on a website, and I'll share that eventually on my Instagram handle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, YouTube, I'm giving the YouTube a rest for now, as I work on new content that is more in alignment with the life that I'm creating for myself. So there's no more split mind. It's just Kareem Daniel Rice. I'm just gonna be me
Mm-hmm.
and be comfortable within my skin. Yeah. So it's Kareem Daniel Rice 01 Kareem Rice.
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Oh my God, this was very empowering. Thank you for the first live of the year for you and for me. For 2021, this is a great start. And Kareem, as I said before, I wish you all the best. I'm going to be following you. You can text me anytime. We message back and forth. Um, Whenever I'm back in Trinidad, I would certainly be contacting you whenever we get to travel. It's COVID has us restricted right now, but I'd certainly love to meet up with you whenever I'm home. Okay. So, Beth,
Looking forward to it.
thank you once again for joining us. So, everyone, thank you for joining us tonight with Kareem as my guest, learning about, surviving with mental illness and how he lived through it and how he's still living through it and surviving with it and making the best and growing as he goes along. So, good night and thank you again. Don't forget to like my page, Breaking Through to Success, because I'm looking to do more videos with people, just like Kareem. If you know anyone, reach out to me and yeah, then we can chat. All right. So, thank you and good night, everyone.